Welcome back, guys. I know it's been a while since I last posted, but I've been busy with school and all that, and I've been trying to get back in the schedule. And I know I said that I would post on the Friday quite a time ago, but I've been a bit busy. So I've decided to change my frequency of video posting to every other Saturday instead of Fridays, so I can actually have time to create the videos and edit them and all that. So instead of every Friday, I'm going to be posting every other Saturday now. That's it for the updates. So let's talk about today's video. I just wanna Today's video is gonna be about top 5 underused CSS properties. And since last time we did HTML elements, this time it's gonna be CSS properties. And we're just gonna look at those properties, how they're used, and examples. So let's get right into it. Alright, so here's our basic setup. We have this box, and we have the text, and just something to change. So first property that we're going to look at is not actually a property, it's a pseudo selector. It's a selection pseudo selector. And let's see an example of it at work before we actually talk about it. So let's see, I have this input right here which says let's change how this text looks when you select it. So if you just add double colons and then selector, you can change what happens. You can change how it looks when you select it. So let's do color red and background of black. So now that it's saved, if you go over it, well, maybe it needs to refresh. Let's save this. Oh wait, it's not selector, it's selection. So that's effective when it's selected. As you can see, when you select that property, it applies those properties to it. So I've changed the color to red and the background to black. I believe I can also change the font size to maybe, let's say, 20 pixels. I'm not 100% sure about that. So let's see. Yeah, we can't change the font size, but you can change the color, the background to make it look more fitting in with the theme of your website. So because the usual color is default color is blue and white, you can change it to fit with the theme of your website. So that's basically the selection pseudo selector. Next one, we have the column count property. So the column count property allows you to split a paragraph or this text into multiple columns. So you can say 3. So let's say I do column count 3. Guess what happens? The text gets split into 3 columns. If I say, let's say 5, for it to refresh, it gets split into 5 columns. That's basically what the column count property does. It just splits the whole paragraph into that many sections. However, if I have too many sections like this, let's say 50, watch what it just overflows out of the screen. So that's something to be careful about, but that's how the column count property works. Let's change that back to 2, let's say. And here's another property that's closely associated with the column count. That's column rule property. So what the column rule property allows us to do is style the ending of the columns. So the right border of the columns, you can change that. So let's do column rule. The values of the column rule property are going to be the same as the values of a border property. You put the thickness, you put the type, so solid, let's say white. What this does is at the right border of each one of those columns, it puts that border in. So I could say double. Let's make that 3. So as you can see, just put that there. Yes. That's pretty much it for the column rule property. Now let's move on to the background attachment property. So as you can see, I have this background right here, and I know the text is not visible. This was just a quick picture I found of CSS. As you can see, as I move my text, the background doesn't move along with it. So if you want to change so the background moves along with the text, you can use the background attachment property. So background attachment allows you to specify by either if the background should be fixed, which is currently the default, I believe. If you go down, as you can see, it's fixed it. Oh, it's not the default. The default is scroll, which means it scrolls with the body. So it scrolls with this whole paragraph. Like as you can see, I'm moving this scroll and moves along with that. However, if I were to make it fixed, which is not the default is scroll. As you can see, it just stays in that same position. It does not move. As you can see, as I move that whole scroller, it doesn't move. It just stays there. The only reason you can't see it visible is because I have it like inside this box. I have it like stopping it from overflowing, but that's pretty much it. That's a background attachment property. You can make it either fixed or scroll, which is the default state. And now, finally, for our last property, which is the image rendering property. So the image rendering property, basically, you have this image, right? You can decide what algorithm is used to actually render the image, but you should note that like images with scaling don't really work that well. Well, I mean, no effect on images that are not scaled. So like images that are scaled are the only one that work, not the ones that are not scaled. So as you can see here, I can just write image rendering. I can choose the algorithm that is used to like render the image. So you have multiple options. One of them is pixelated, so like pixelated effect. Let's wait, it should have refreshed. Well, I guess it's harder to tell actually on this image because it's kind of hard to do it on here. Let me actually get an emoji and change this image out with an emoji, and then we'll show the effect on the emoji. So let's do emoji. I'll just search it up on the side. Copy image address. Okay, I'm back. Let's change that out. So now let's wait for that. Let's make it normal. So let's get rid of this first of all. Let me change the scaling as well because I gotta scale it 100 pixel by 100 pixel. So this is the normal image. Actually, let me make that bigger. I don't know why I didn't scale this correctly before. Yeah, this is the normal emoji. If I add this image rendering of, let's say, what was it, pixelated? So I can make it pixelated. As you can see, it looks a bit different. You know what? How about this? I'll add multiple images side by side, and I'll affect each of them separately. So let's give this a gloss of normal, so it doesn't really need it. Let's give this a gloss of pixelated. Let's give this a gloss of crisp edges, which is another value. Let's give this a gloss of high quality, which is another value. And there's one more value, which is smooth. Gloss of smooth. Alright, so first of all, let me make them display flex so they're side by side, and I'll give them a bit of a gap because, well, I guess I already have a display flex on it. Well, doesn't really matter. I'll put maybe a label on top of them or a fake caption. Fake caption. Let's see, normal. Let's see how that turns out. Well, never mind. Well, it doesn't really matter. We can just have a look at this. So the pixelated, we have the normal image on the top left, like the first image. This is normal. And now let's have a look at the pixelated image. So image rendering, algorithm of pixelated. Let's do all the other ones as well, and then we'll look at the difference. Crisp edges, image rendering, crisp edges. Does it have a S? I believe so. And then there is the, which is it, high quality, dot high quality, image rendering, high quality, and finally the smooth, image rendering. Alright, I believe that's it. So let's have a look at all the different ones. So it's probably a bit hard to tell, but it is different kind of. You can see this one's more like, it's not as smooth, I guess. So this one has like these rough edges. This one has crisp edges because it's a crisp edge one. This is the high quality one. It's pretty much the same. It's not too big of a difference, but it does make a difference. So it's like a small flavor. But I guess if your image is like a lot bigger, so let's say if like instead of, can I select multiple on here? Let me see if I can select multiple lines on here. I don't think, no. So I'll just give them all a height of 500 pixels. Let's copy that. Height and width of 500 pixels. So let's wait for that to refresh. I think that can allow us to see the differences better. What? Oh, I forgot to change the normal one. Save that. Let's move this up. So now this is the normal one where we haven't like changed the algorithm, the default. This is the pixelated one. You can see that the borders, like the edges are kind of rough. The crisp edges, it's pretty much the same, but it's like crisper edges, I guess, crispier. Then there's a high quality and there's a smooth. There's not too big of a difference. But if it's like a more complicated image, I believe there'd be a bigger difference. So that's pretty much it. I hope you learned something new, and make sure to subscribe and like for more content. And remember, I'm going to be posting every other Saturday from now on, so the next video will be in 2 weeks. See you next time.